How's it going, folks? And you're very welcome to the very first Irish Unity podcast, the first of many, I hope. My name's Kieran. I will be hosting the podcast for the duration. We're hoping to bring to the Irish Unity community and beyond a platform in which we can explore and give space for various opinions, discussions, interactions, and even a few disagreements on all things Irish Unity around the ongoing momentum for border polls and referendums and what have you. So we'll also be intending to bring this onto a visual platform sometime in the near future, so watch the space for that there. I'd like to say from the outset that we welcome contributions from any quarter. So if anybody out there thinks they would like to contribute to future shows, future podcasts, in whatever way they wish, feel free to get in touch. You can get in touch with us at via our website, yesforunity.ie, or via any of our social media pages, or just through any activists that you know on the ground. You'll be very welcome, and your contributions will be very welcome indeed. Now, for tonight's podcast, we're really going to jump right in there, and we're going to try to throw the net out and really get a take on what are the broad range of perspectives and opinions that exist both within the Irish Unity community, if you could call it that, and indeed from outside the Irish community. We want to address the many differing perspectives on the ongoing momentum for Irish Unity, the ongoing momentum for a border poll or referendum that we have picked up upon during our tour of public meetings. Now, really since for the past year and a half, since September 2018, Yes for Unity have embarked on a tour. I suppose you could call it a national tour of public meetings. It's actually international because we took it to Catalonia and over to Brittany as well. And what we did is we launched a range of public meetings all around the issue of Irish reunification, bearing in mind that there is a momentum towards that, possibly due to things like demographic shifts and other political developments and outworkings. And in the course of these public meetings, what we've wanted to do is provide a platform for as wide a perspective as possible. The tour of public meetings kicked off in, if I remember right, Castlebar, County Mayo. I don't know why it kicked off down there, but it seemed as good a place as any. We then went up. We were up in Derry. We brought it to Strabane, which was a historic night. That was a great event. It was the first night that I believe that the RSP and Sinn Féin shared a platform since the Hates Black committees, and indeed it was possibly quite momentous in that you had a range of both pro Good Friday and anti Good Friday Republicans sharing the table as well. You had the 1916 societies turned up, Sean Bresnan made a great contribution, and Tommy McKerney was there too. We had two great events in Belfast on Calderland on the Falls Road. One which was addressing the internationalist perspective in the potential for an independence referendum. So we had some great comrades from the COUP came over from Catalonia, and Gail, former political prisoner, Breton political prisoner, he came over to speak from the perspective of the brain. Donald Anderson from the Scottish Republicans Party was there as well. But we also had a follow-up meeting in July, again in the Culterland, which was solely focused on the Irish situation. The most recent of these meetings occurred last week up there in Crumlin direction, County Antrim. And I brought the podcast gear along, and what I did was I took advantage of it was a great meeting. It was the first time that we were able to provide a platform for a Unionist speaker. We also had Professor Colin Harvey, law professor. We had Joe Matthews of the Irish Republican Socialists there, Councillor Michael Collins from People Before Profit, and Councillor Michael Goodman of Sinn Féin, of course. Now I took the opportunity to interview people from a broad range of perspectives after the public meeting. So I'm going to delve into those now before coming back, and please be patient because there was still some movement in the background. There was a lot of hustle and bustle, so just be patient with the sound quality, folks.
Yeah, so my name's Stephen Donnan Dalzell. I'm a writer and an LGBT rights activist based in Belfast. I've been working towards human rights and equality for about 10 years now in the community and voluntary sector, yeah.
Stephen, you're the first person on these panels. We've been carrying these debates around Ireland for a year now. You're the first person who's openly described themselves as unionist, small unionist, if you want. What I really want to ask is, as somebody who's openly described themselves as a unionist, you don't display any hostility at all towards aspirations for Irish unity.
Yeah.
And you've kindly agreed to speak here tonight. What I really want to ask is, do you represent like a new, smarter version of unionist? You mentioned earlier that the DUP are the best friends of Irish unity. Do you represent a more smarter version of unionism, or are you representative of a demographic that is maybe getting ready for Irish unity? Add something.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily use the term smarter about the way maybe modern unionists are thinking at the minute. It's more pragmatic. Unionism has always been smart in the sense of trying to look after its own ideals. The problem now is that struggle has been co-opted by mainstream unionism and the likes of the DUP and the Ulster Unionist Party to represent something that's very narrow and very conservative, very ill-defined. That is, their Britishness is antithetical to my Britishness because it doesn't include things like reproductive rights, Irish Language Act, marriage equality, internationalism, Europeanism. Those things are very ill-defined within mainstream unionism, but I think on the ground people are a bit more pragmatic because this debate is happening regardless of whether we're taking part or not. So it's smart in the sense that we need to be doing this, and I think our political leaders need to listen to that.
You spoke earlier also of the need to accommodate orange unionist loyalist culture in a future united Ireland. What safeguards would you want, or what would be your red line in terms of safeguarding orange loyalist unionist culture within the United Ireland? What would be your suggestions for that?
That's a really interesting question. It would probably have to some kind of constitutional protection, in the same way that we would enshrine constitutional protections for Muslims or migrants or the LGBT community, women, etc. Because loyalism will suddenly become a minority within a new Ireland. It won't be the majority the way it used to be. So for me, that would be the red line. It would need to be at least constitutional safeguards. I don't think legislation is enough. Legislation can be repealed. It would need to be something written into the Constitution, and also loyalists would need to be able to be co-authors of that Constitution rather than people who are learning about it after the fact. That would be my red line, I think, for that.
Can you define unionist culture in 2020?
No.
I can't define nationalist culture.
No, because as it was said by Michael earlier on in the panel, that unionism is not a homogenous group, in the same way that republicanism isn't a homogenous group. I've met Republicans who would be opposed to the idea of armed resistance, and Republicans who would be more in favour of reigniting a conflict. So I don't think it's fair to ask if I can define unionist culture. For me, it's more about the mindset of what unionism means to individuals.